Hey, lady loves. This is Khadeeja. Good morning. This video is reminding you to never deviate from your standards. Now, we have to understand the differences between preferences and standards with dating and relationships. Standards versus preferences. A preference could be something that you prefer in your mate. His height, the type of car he drives, the kind of occupation he's in, the music that he listens to, preferences. Standards are non-negotiables. For example, if you're a Christian woman and you know you would never marry a man who is not Christian, that's a standard. You wouldn't deviate from that. So you know what your standards are. You know what your preferences are. When it comes to dealing with certain men, their nature, the different caliber of men that you might deal with, it could be some men that you may run across who will try to get you to deviate from your standards. If your standards are, I feel like, or you feel like, it takes a year for a woman to truly get to know a man, right? And your standard is, well, if this is somebody I just met, I have not known him a year, I have not been dealing with him on a daily basis to really truly get to know and understand this individual, I'm not going to have sex with him before I have truly gotten to know him and we have truly established a committed relationship, or whatever you set is for your personal standard. Don't deviate from that, from one person to the next. So if, over a course of, 6 or 8 months or whatever, say if you dated 3 different men, you got to know 3 different individuals, keep your standards across the board. Don't switch them up based on who that individual is. So say there could be a professional executive, is one of those individuals. Another one could be, a PE teacher at a school. The other one could be a manager at a car dealership. If you are getting to know these individuals, not saying all at the same time or whatever, but if you're getting to know, on average, these individuals, don't say, well, for the account executive, I'm going to switch it up, and for him, my standard is going to be X, Y, and Z. For the PE teacher, I'm going to require X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So stick to your standards across the board. Don't deviate from your standards. Your standards need to be who you are as an individual, what you require. Your standards could be, I don't let anyone disrespect me in any manner. If they disrespect me, they're out the door. I'm not going to stick around and tolerate and let them continue to have access to me if they're being disrespectful to me. That's a non-negotiable. That's a standard. If your standard could be, I don't like a man who smokes cigarettes, because that taste, if you're kissing him, that taste and that smell is, it's all in your mouth. And, don't deviate from that because he's that high, executive, and he's, encompassing, embodying a lot of, what you do like, but you can't stand the taste and the smell of cigarettes, and that's a standard you have for yourself. I can't date a man who smokes cigarettes. I'm not going to try to change him and make him something he's not. Now, you can definitely let him know that this is not something that I personally can tolerate. I'm sensitive. My nose is sensitive. The smell hurts my stomach. The taste gets in my mouth. And, it's not one of those things that I can negotiate with. Now, you can tell him, you can let him know. And if he feels strongly enough about you to where he'll say, well, that's a habit that I can shake and I can kick and I don't have to do that. Okay, that's an even, compromise. That's an even exchange. But don't compromise yourself. Don't compromise your standards. Now, I'm not saying there's not times in committed relationships where you won't have to compromise, because that's not realistic, and that's not being fair. But if it's something that is a non-negotiable, because he's going to have his non-negotiables too, so don't think it's just one-sided. They're your non-negotiables, and then later when y'all are together and committed and all that kind of stuff, then you guys find even compromise. There's a difference. My point is, stick to your standards. Whatever your standards are, stick to them. And, like I said, if using that same scenario from earlier, if you feel like, personally, I would not really, have sex with a person before spending a full year, not one text a week or a conversation twice a month, and then a year goes by. No. Daily communication, getting to thoroughly know a person. Okay, so if you're not gonna say, okay, before that time, I'm cool with sleeping with somebody, whatever. So say if you meet a person and they try to get you to deviate from your standard, that's not somebody who you want to invest a lot of time in. Because before you enter into relationships, you should actually spend a lot of time getting to know yourself, getting to know your likes, getting to know your triggers, getting to know what turns you on, turns you off, not just sexually, but just in life, dealing with people. So if you spend that time getting to know yourself and know what you are about as a person, then it's not very easily for somebody to come in and manipulate and get you to deviate from what you said your standards are. So you have to get to know yourself. You have to spend time by yourself. It's not a bad thing. You lived in your womb, your mother's womb, for those, 40 weeks. Getting to know you, creating you, being with you, developing you. When you came out, it was you. So a lot of people feel like they have to have a whole lot of other people around them in order for them to feel, secure and feel, different things. But we have to give that sense of security to ourselves first before we start dating, before we enter into these relationships. Because if we don't, we will get so codependent on them that if they leave us, then we're broken. We didn't save anything for ourselves. So you have to spend that time getting to know you. A lot of us don't know us. A lot of us started dating at 16 and are now early 40s and have never taken time to just be by themselves and figure out who they like. They're constantly shifting and molding and, kind of being swayed to like and value what, the man or vice versa, values. So this goes for men and for women. Men, you have to have your standards too. You have to know who you are. So for the man, if you feel like, one of your standards is a woman has to have a certain amount of respect for herself, that's a non-negotiable for you. You have to stick to that. You have to stay true to that, whatever your standards are. Now, you can have preferences. Preferences is different from standards. Preferences, you can, kind of be a little more flexible. Like, okay, maybe you prefer a woman with long hair. You prefer X, Y, and Z. That's a preference. It's not a non-negotiable. So never deviate from your standards. Sit down, figure out what your standards are, and you stay true to them unanimously, if I'm saying that word right this morning, across the board. You have to stay true to that so that you stay true to yourself. So you're not cheating that person. That person is not cheating you. You are staying true to what your value system is. Okay? All right, I hope y'all got something from that. I'll hit y'all later.